Hello everyone and welcome back to Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate Prowler Only. Last time we took on Crystalbeard G5 and took it down pretty easily. Took us a little over 35 minutes to actually complete the hunt, which is not terrible, especially compared to Red Helm, which is down to the wire. This time we'll be going ahead, eating our meal, and taking on our next Deviant. And as we walk up to the quest board, our quest tender is gonna maybe spoil it, maybe not. We're gonna be taking on Boltreaver Astalos. This is what some people generally consider to be the hardest, at the very least from what I've seen. We didn't have much issues getting up to G5. I've seen bits and pieces saying EX is the hardest version of it. If G5 is anything to go by, it's not terrible. And any of the other hunts too. We fainted once here, but that was just because it was kind of weird going between Boltreaver's slower but more powerful attack style compared to a Hyper Astalos' still powerful attacks, but they're much faster. So it's kind of weird to, swap between the two of them and actually get used to them, especially when they're in the same area. But we did G5, or at least I did G5. Was not terrible, took a little over 20 minutes. They are both glass cannons for sure. Astalos is a bit more tanky, but he just gets the extra HP because he is the main target. And again, EX is generally the one that people consider to be the worst. But I was thinking G5 would be terrible. It's actually not. You have to kill Thunderlord first before Boltreaver spawns in, which we'll get to whenever we get to the hunt. But I will go over our gear that we're using really quick. We're using, of course, the Zamtrios Paw XR. You can use the Lagambi or the Snow Baron Stick double cross if you do have access to that. We don't have it yet. Again, it only took us 20 minutes to use this. It'd be even faster if we used the Snow Baron Stick, but we're not. We're using this one. It worked just fine. Nothing really to complain about with it. We have the Thunderlord Helm double cross. This is because I've already done Thunderlord, and it's nice to have that extra thunder resistance. If you've gotten up to G5 on Boltreaver, then you can make his armor as well. You probably won't be able to make all of it. And since we only had enough scraps to make the Thunderlord helm when I did actually make this set, if you can consider it a set, we went ahead and made this hero cape, and they both have decent thunder resistance. Of course, Thunderlord's going to be better, especially defense wise, if we have the body armor for the Thunderlord. But this one worked just fine. Again, I've already done this quest before. I know generally how it's going to go. So with that out of the way, I'll go ahead and take the quest and we'll head on out. All right, so a couple of things to know about this map. There is a bed here. So if you bring Farcaster, I believe is what it's called, you will be able to warp back, use 3 bars of your gauge if you're not under Go Fight Win, and if you are under Go Fight Win, you'll be able to use 2 bars of your gauge, which is even better, to come back to base camp, refill your acorns, and go back into the fight if you absolutely need it. We lost both of our acorns, or I lost both of my acorns, let me say it like that, whenever I did the test quest. But it still wasn't terrible. That was just me being greedy. First, we start with Thunderlord, so we'll get a little taste of what Thunderlord is here. He is very, very, very weak compared to Astalos, and he's going to go down maybe in about 10 minutes at most, but we just have to be patient with him. He's pretty much just a juiced up regular Zenogre. His Fulgur Bugs, which I don't believe they're actually called Fulgur Bugs here, I don't remember what they're called though, but his little Fulgur Bug things, they will actually knock you into stun guaranteed each time if you get hit by them, so make sure you're staying away from them. We're just kind of trying to build up bar gauge here. He's going to use a lot more ranged type attacks. If you fought Apex Zenogre in Monster Hunter Rise, kind of similar to that, his little close range attacks actually have a bit more range on them just because the thunder is augmenting that. It's going to roar here. It also comes out a little bit late with the roar, but it's similar to regular Zenogre with that. I did just fight this guy, so I don't know why I'm missing the roars. It's going to do a double Fulgur Bug launch there. Back legs are really good for this monster, actually. They are a weak spot for both blunt and cutting, I believe. And if you are using a cutting weapon, you'll have a better pick of hit zones because the back or the body, one of the two, if they're not the exact same thing, actually take better cutting damage than blunt damage. But it's still not terrible. Again, this is generally considered to be a glass cannon fight, and he for sure is. He'll do a lot of damage if you are not careful, but he's also very easy to take down. And since his legs are a weak spot, much like Seregios, you will actually be able to, hopefully I don't get hit by this. He also can close distance pretty easily, but if you're focusing on those back legs, you'll get a lot of trips in a fight, which is very nice. Throw a couple of boomerang series, just taunting, so we can actually, get some good damage off there. He's going to do a flip here, just launch a couple of Fulgur Bugs out. Again, I don't remember exactly what they're called. Maybe they're like golden Fulgur Bugs or something like that, but I'm just going to call them Fulgur Bugs. Just does a little pounce attack there, no augmentation or anything like that, so we're good. And even his front legs, you know, they're, I believe, taking some decent ice damage, but if you just have to pierce through them to get to the back legs, that's fine too. Again, he's a very weak monster brawl-wise, and the ice is just adding even more damage to it. Here comes this big augmented Thunder Slam from his paw. I believe he can do it from both paws, so it's not guaranteed to be from the left paw like it was there. Couple of Fulgur Bug launches. Actually, he only does one into a combo. He's a very combo heavy monster too. Thankfully, since we are cats, we're very fast and can get out of a lot of sticky situations pretty easily, especially with Adept. Very similar to Adept Dual Blades in that matter. Just go for the back legs here. Just gonna kind of do another taunt. Here comes an attack. It's a little Thunder Horn there. He'll do it a couple of times. I don't know. Doesn't look like he's gonna combo it with anything else though. He can kind of do like a Supernova, which would be similar to Teostra, where it just does a massive area of damage like this. We're gonna try to dodge it. If we miss, oh well, it's fine. Doesn't even one-shot us. When we get to the EX version of that, it will for sure one-shot us. Dodge into that. Very nice. Couple of boomerangs here. Just gonna do a couple of melee attacks though. He does the jump back, which is good. He still does have the charging phases like regulars in Ogre, but they are more few and far between because he just keeps that golden charge for a very long time. And he's pretty much always just permanently charged. You can see how often we're actually getting stunned here. It's always good to just Soothing Roll. I believe, and I can't be for sure because it's a hidden stat, but I believe it does reset your stun tolerance or something like that. And I don't know, that might not even be in this game. It might be a world thing. But I believe the more you get hit, the more likely it is. Just in how the game works. Because you can not get hit for like 30 minutes at a time and get hit once and it doesn't really matter. But if you get hit like 3 times rapidly in succession, you get stunned. So it's definitely a stun tolerance thing. And again, I do believe Soothing Roll does heal that. Because I've, you know, tried to use Soothing Roll to negate that, and it usually ends up working unless I just forget. Couple of boomerangs here. We'll see what he does. Just doing a hit check. We're good to actually just, you know, keep onslaughting him here. Both of our buffs ran out, so wait for him to finish this. Just doing Thunder Slams there. Not really too scary for us, especially because he's going after our cat, so we're just fine. I think we'll not really worry about his umps for now. We'll really want to actually get our Mega Boomerang off since he is just in general weaker to raw. Yes, we're doing that 10% less damage, I believe. Not quite, maybe, on our Mega Boomerangs, but that's fine. And I'll say this, I actually did, you know, check up on the numbers on Mega Boomerang. So the motion value for a flying hit of the blunt Mega Boomerang is 22, and you can hit it up to 10 times. The motion value on the cutting Mega Boomerang, we'll wait and see what he's going to do here. I think he's just charging. He's going to get a quick charge though, since he was just kind of fighting regularly. But the motion value on the cutting Mega Boomerang is actually 25 per tick, which will do up to 10. So you'll have 220 motion value for the entire blunt Mega Boomerang and 250. So you're only losing about 30 motion value, which isn't terribly much. It's also not amazing. You know, it is a little bit less. So you can consider that, especially if you're getting quite a few Mega Boomerangs out. So it will add up eventually. But it's not the complete end of the world. It is still like your best move for cats just because of how much damage it can do. Like, I remember back in the day when I just did not use Mega Boomerang because I thought it wasn't worth it. And when I actually started using it, I was amazed on how well it actually worked. And I've just, you know, kept using it ever since. You'll see me give up Go Fight Win instead of Mega Boomerang a lot of the times if I feel safe enough, because it is just a very good move. And if you can use it quite a bit, especially under Go Fight Win, it's very nice. That is an interesting attack where he sends out the 4 Fulgur Bugs. Kind of hard to know where they land, especially if you're not fighting at that range, since we don't have to worry about critical distance or anything like that. So a lot of his anti-range stuff won't reach us if we are fighting him in a good range. You know, it's all about positioning with cats. He's going to slam that down there. We're perfectly fine to just counter him though. He's turning to us, so we can actually throw another boomerang out. He's launching those Fulgur Bugs. I think we'll go ahead. We're going to be a little greedy here. Okay, he's actually going after our Palco though, so we should be fine. If he, okay, he's not exploding here, so we'll actually just keep going for those legs. Finally get a topple. Again, not really going too hard for the the good hit zones here. I am focusing a little bit more on talking, but we'll keep going for the face there. Go ahead and throw another one. I don't believe this will flinch us. That will for sure flinch us, but we did not get hit by it, so we're fine. Comes the final finisher of the combo. Go ahead and just reapply our buffs as well. He had just enough for that. Now we'll focus on going for that head. See what he's gonna do. Just a little pounce forward. I believe that can still apply you with Thunderblight. We broke one of the horns. You can break the other one as well if you do enough damage. It's doing lightning horns, so we'll just avoid that. He's not finishing it with an explosion, so we'll be able to counter him. Very easy to kind of poke the head too if you absolutely need the horns or something like that. Okay, here comes the slams. He has some decent tracking too. Definitely for old world, it is better than some of the other monsters that you do fight, but it is still kind of primitive, especially compared to Rise monsters, which are absolutely amazing at tracking you. All right, we'll wait. Just doing a little attack there into a tail flip. Perfectly fine to just throw a couple of boomerangs out. Actually knocked his charge out. That's another thing you can do if you do enough damage to him before he explodes. Means he won't be able to explode because he's lost his charge. Boomerang out. He can't really attack us with that little tiny horn splash. That's what I'm going to call it. Whenever he does that, so we're perfectly able to just kind of stay off to the side here. It's a very fun fight. Don't get me wrong. Like it's very quick. And it can be a little rough if you are playing something like regular Blade Master without Adept, but it's still a fun fight. Like you still gotta, be careful around him, but you can also just, kind of go crazy into him if you get a knockdown or something like that, because he is just taking so much damage from regular attacks. All right, he's doing the Fulgur Bug launch. He canceled it though. When they are not in golden form, you won't have to worry about being stunned by the Fulgur Bugs, unless it's just a regular stun. But you won't guaranteed be stunned by them each time. Little greedy there, kept throwing them out, but we are just trying to get some damage pushed along here. All right, a couple of launches here. Just dodge into it in case it does hit us. We are lurking dangerously close to it. In fact, we actually got hit by it because he nudges us into it. A couple of boomerangs there. We'll throw out one more. He's just going to not limp forward, but, do a weird Zinogre walk. He has a very unique walk animation. Go ahead and apply our Mega Boomerang. He's just going to slash into a slam, into another one. Just stick right next to him, run around him, since we can just run with our weapon unsheathed. It's a very nice Prowler perk. Gonna lunge forward here to just close the distance. A couple more boomerangs there. He's going to do the Fulgur Bug launch. He cancels it out into a slash. Just try to stay around him. Again, you can see how clean these hitboxes also are, which is very nice. Since he is a newer monster, yes, he's based on Zinogre, which is from Portable Third, but since he is still, newer designed, his hitboxes feel a lot more clean. But I will say this, regular Zinogre's hitboxes are pretty clean. Even in Portable Third, they're a little bit more unpolished, but they still feel pretty nice, especially against some of the monsters you do fight. He's absolutely demolishing you in the corner there, so we'll just kind of take as much advantage of that as we can. He's going to do a tail flip there, so we'll go for those back legs. Haven't really got much break on there, or mini breaks on the front legs. Of course, you can only get one each, but it's still quite a bit if you're going for them. There's one. Complain about it and you get it, I guess. Horn slash into a slam. He can't really reach us with the right slam if we are on his right, because he kind of has to move it. If you fight him a lot, you'll get a feel for how much he actually has to move during his attacks, and sometimes that will be a disadvantage for him, just due to how he has to move and track with it. Go ahead and try to throw another Mega Boomerang out. We are a little bit slower, but I'm fine with that than last time. It was the same thing for Crystal Beard. Actually going to try to take advantage of this charge. Should be able to. Maybe a little greedy, though, because he should be going down sometime soon. But just talking is, in general, going to slow us down a bit, but I'm fine with that. Again, very late roar there, honestly. Looks like he's going to just raise up and roar immediately, but nope. There's a left slam. You're perfectly fine to just throw a couple of boomerangs out. There we go. Getting a nice break on the second horn. Definitely means he's almost down. And there we go. And we still have a bit of bar gauge, which is good. Or bar. I really need to stop saying bar gauge. It just does not make much sense, because they both are the exact same thing. But we'll go ahead and carve them up. We got a Sky Merle. That's pretty nice. That is one of the rare things. Especially if, like, for you need a Sky Merle. I remember that was a particularly unfun thing to grind for, even though Zinogre is a pretty fun fight. He is a pretty fun fight, and the Deviant does a really good job of just kind of adding to it and not really taking much away from it. But again, 10 minutes for a Deviant, Red Helm, took like 15. And yes, we did have to fight a Furious Rajang alongside him, but that was how long it was taking even when I wasn't talking. It's just not a good monster because it has terrible hit zones. But we'll wait for him to despawn as per usual. If you do kill a monster and, you know, you're waiting for that final monster to respawn, if you have some gathering spots for a cat, you can go grab them, you know, like the Ballista and the Sacred Pinnacle. But since there isn't really anything here, there used to be a Might Seed spot in 4 Ultimate. In fact, it's here now. It wasn't here last time for some reason. I don't know why it's here now. Either way, once Zenogre has despawned, go ahead and apply, or at the very least, Piercing buff, and we'll go ahead and take on Boltreaver. Like I said before, Boltreaver is a bit slower than regular Astalos, but guarded that, I'm not dodging my roars today. That is not great. But he is slower. He's slower and more powerful. So we'll just kind of try to call out his attacks here. You'll want to go for the wings with the blunt weapon or the face. That's really nice. And once he is charged up, his whole body is pretty much a weak spot, especially on the tail. And just the face in general. Face is just a really good spot to go for, but the wings are so large, they're always just a very nice spot to go for, even after they've been broken. So we'll just go ahead and try to call him out. Okay, just a right wing slam into a left one. Usually the wing slams will come together, so he'll do a one wing slam and then into another. If he doesn't do another wing slam, he either ends it for some reason, like if you flinched him, or he'll do a beam sword. Just gonna roar there. He is going into enrage mode and he charges himself up into blue mode. That is how you know he is charged up, and he'll do a beam sword there. Beam sword is decently large hitbox wise, especially next to his head. That is absurdly large. It might not look like it'll hit you, but it does. Further away though, it's actually somewhat consistent to actually dodge. It has a very consistent tracking, so after a certain point he will just stop tracking you because his head is already in the air preparing to attack you. But it's also a very simple attack to just dodge. Here comes the black hole move. This will start to draw you in. Thankfully, since we can just walk with or run with our weapon unsheathed, we're very easily just outpacing it. And even at its strongest, we're just kind of keeping it neutral. And the only reason, you know, we are worried about being neutral there is that we're not getting sucked into it, because we can just adept dodge the little slam he does. And later on in the fight, he will actually start using his beam sword into the slam. And I'll go over how we do that whenever he does it. But for now, here's a right wing slam into a beam sword. Like I said before, you can combo it into that instead of the left wing slam. Wait and see what he does next. He's just throwing out thunder pillars. We're fine with that. Here comes the black hole. Kind of looks like sometimes that he's going for the black hole and he will do a beam sword instead. Go ahead and dodge into the slam though. And how that works is pretty much you'll dodge into the beam sword first. If you get out of the range of the beam sword and don't adept dodge, you're perfectly fine to just dodge the slam that's incoming. And if not, if you do adept dodge, immediately swipe out of it and then prepare to dodge the slam. It's a very simple attack to dodge. You just got to keep a cool head. Don't just start spamming your dodges. You will be caught by the slam at the end. All right, we've got quite a bit of bar gauge. Bar, not bar gauge. We've got quite a bit of bar. So we'll just wait here. I think this is a great chance. He has a lot of end lag between some of his attacks. And while Blade Masters have a harder time hitting him because his head is really the only easily reachable weak spot because he is just so large. For cats, it's very easy since we can just kind of aim upwards and start hitting the wings, which is great. Pretty much, and especially when he's charged, you have always an access to a good weak spot that you can just keep attacking. Throw a boomerang out. It's pretty much just a very patient game. You're waiting for him to attack, like so, and you'll counter him. And you'll just keep doing that. You should eventually get enough bar gauge to start throwing mega boomerangs. And as long as you're playing safe enough to not take damage, you should, you know, constantly be getting a net gain of bar. We're going to go ahead and be greedy here and throw this out. I think we'll be fine. He's just going to roar. Fine with getting hit by that. I don't believe he can immediately attack out of roar, so that's fine with us. And he's just charging anyways. Here comes the little Thunderdome attack. That's what I'm going to call it. It can paralyze you, I believe, but it did not. And as per usual with like regular Astalos as well, if you get hit by the tail physically, you will be paralyzed by it. Try not to do that, you know, at the very least dodge around the tail, because whenever he tries to sting with it in the air, it can look a little weird. It does have a fairly wide hitbox whenever it does that, but that's just the way the tail moves as well. It moves in a pretty wide arc. So just try to dodge that. Little Thunderbolt there. We're fine with that. I did not press B in time there. I was focusing more on the Thunderbolt that hit us. Either way, you can see how much damage that did. Not terrible, honestly. If you're at full health, you can be hit by that. Cats have the privilege of having multiple feints before they actually faint. So we don't really have to play too careful around that either. And especially in the EX version, that will be much helpful, or very helpful. Just doing a couple of head swipes there. We'll go for the wings, not the face. Big boomerangs have worn off, so we'll just go ahead, dodge into the wing swipe there. Here comes the thunder pillars. Not doing a thunderbolt though, he's just slamming. Usually best consistent thing you can do is just dodge into the slams, because it does go under him as well whenever he hits the ground, and behind him a little bit too. So instead of just worrying about being hit by that, just dodge into it as soon as it would hit you. Even if you're behind him, because, you know, if you just dodge it, that's fine. You can immediately just start throwing counter boomerangs. But if not, you will just adept dodge it, and then you'll be able to swipe out of it and throw another one. Let's see what he does. Beam sword, dodge into it, into the slam. Can see how kind of that lightning pulsed around them. I believe that's where the hitbox is. It's just going to taunt after that. It's a very consistent taunt too, so make sure you keep note of that. I believe we broke a wing, which is nice. I don't remember if the wings take less damage when they're broken, but they're still taking good damage. You can just feel it, how crunchy the hit zones are. All right, he did a little tiny beam sword there. Not actually anything of value though, so we're fine. Get a flinch, which is good. It's a right wing slam. We'll wait here. All right, he's just doing the swipes though, so we'll move forward. Again, usually when he does one wing, he'll do the other one pretty consistently, unless he just combos it with something that's a little bit slower, so you'll have the telegraph for it. You know, he's not unfair. He's a very fun fight. You're just trying to, you know, make sure you're leveraging those attacks to your advantage. He usually doesn't combo the tail sweeps either, so you don't have to worry about that as well, which can be an annoying thing sometimes that you have to wait for, especially as a blade master. Just having to get close enough. Did not mean to lunge there, but it's fine. He's going to swipe here. We'll be out of range of the first one. In fact, if he did the second one, we'd be out of the range of that one. But again, he can sometimes just only do one. He's comboing these two. I don't believe we'll be hit. That's another attack that does reach in under it. Even if it doesn't look like it'll hit, the thunder just kind of does augment it. Gives it a wider hit radius. We also have like a full bar. So let's go ahead and see what we can't do to actually use our mega boomerangs here. All right, beam sword. Okay, looked a little odd, honestly. I'm not quite sure what happened. Usually the iframes are a bit more lenient there, so I don't know why it just ended us, but okay, we'll take it, I guess. There's our second acorn. All right, we'll dodge into that. Again, we're just kind of trying to wait him out, see where we can go. I don't believe SP mode actually augments our adept dodge. Go ahead and apply big boomerangs there. We're going to be a little greedy here, but he's doing the Thunderdome attack anyway, so it's a great chance for us to get some damage off. This will kind of also spread out a little bit more once the main dome does explode, but it should be fine. Just walk a bit of a ways away from it, and even if you're in the little thunder ring, you sometimes won't even be hit by it. Don't bet on that. Hopefully that doesn't hit me. It did not, and we'll be able to get another mega boomerang off, which is pretty nice. Unfortunately, the go fight win just did come in too late. He is now exhausted though, because we are using a blunt weapon, which is nice. So we'll just focus on the head here. Since we don't really have a lot of bar gauge, we'll just try to focus on building it. And we did just lose our piercing boomerangs. What a not great time to lose that either. It's fine. He's doing a tail sweep. The tail sweep is pretty wide, and you can see he did double it there. I believe that's just because he's tired, though he can just double it sometimes too, but it's not always a guaranteed thing like with Rathalos. Couple of boomerangs here. There's a right wing slam. Throw a couple of boomerangs out. We'll try to spin into his face. I did not predict that correctly though. He's trying to do a thunderbolt, but remember, he's exhausted. He's not exempt from the rule. He'll still not be able to use ranged attacks or anything like that. Punish him here while he taunts here, and then he'll just go right back into it. It's not a very long exhaust, but it is pretty quick after fighting him, and it does very much inhibit him quite a bit. Run past the thunderbolt there, not really be too scared of that. We break the head finally. Let's kind of make it look like an axe now. I guess it always looked like an axe. We get another flinch too, which is nice. And the actual tackles, I don't believe he has a tackle attack, which is nice. Shooting out 3 thunderbolts. So we'll be able to just kind of go for the face once he finishes that. Similar to Rathian with the triple fireball. Just doing a sweep there. I actually did not follow it up. I actually tried to account for that. He did do the head sweep though. All right, here comes a slam. We'll counter. Thunder beam. We'll just dodge into it, the beam sword, not the thunder beam. Couple of boomerangs there. He's gonna roar. Finally get a roar dodge. That's nice. All right, now he's fully charged. So this is where our mega boomerangs will be doing the most damage. We just have to wait for a chance to use them. In fact, we have go fight win, so we might wait. I don't believe I'll be reached by another one, but he doesn't do it instead. And we lost our go fight win. He did a beam sword there. I thought he was doing the black hole, but he did not. Thankfully, just moving him in a single direction actually made us safe. Another beam sword. I don't know if the hitbox is larger if he does it on the ground or not, since it has a little more wind up. Being a little greedy there, but that's fine. Dodged into the beam sword there. And I'm thinking maybe what happened with our iframe before is that we dodged out of the actual physical direct hitbox, but we moved back into it when our iframes ended. So we did actually take the full brunt of the damage. Weird quirk with it, how it actually worked, but oh well, it's not the end of the world. Here comes a slam. Out of range of it though, here comes a swipe. Just dodge into it. He actually finally broke the rock. He didn't even get to break the rock on the last time, but that just shows how long we're taking. All right, here comes the black hole. Into a beam sword, probably. Nope, he's just doing the regular slam. So just dodge into him. He's pretty accurate with his tracking there, so it's very safe to just dodge into him. He should be fine. Actually, ooh, never mind. I'm glad I waited on that. He'll do a head turn towards us, so we'll be able to actually get that Mega Boomerang off. Finally got a KO. That's nice. You can angle it into his arm here and hitting the head on the way, depending on what animation cycles he is in, or at what point the animation cycle is in. It's fine. We'll go for the face, or not the face, the wings. I'm doing bad callouts today. Get hit by the roar again, of course. All right, we'll wait and see what he does. All right, looks like black hole. Charge up his wings for the black hole, so that's at the very least consistent. We'll do a swipe. Dodge into the slam. It is very lenient on iframe sometimes, which is nice. He's just going to taunt here, so we'll just kind of keep throwing the boomerangs here. We'll finally get a break, or not a break, but a flinch. Again, not great on my callouts today. Thunderbolt did hit us, but that's fine. He'll do another one. Throw a boomerang out. See what he does next. All right, he's just tackling. That is his tackle attack, but it's very easily telegraphed. It's not like an instant charge from Astalos or Young Garuga. Dodge into the beam sword. Move away. Get a little bit closer with it, though. Thunderbolt into pillars. We're fine. Just kind of move around. Wait and see what he does. All right, we'll throw this out. He doesn't do the Thunderbolt there, so we're not hit. He's doing the black hole. Just doing it into the slam, so that's nice. We can just kind of get away from it. Something to note is that your Soothing Roll actually ignores the black hole drag. I'm going to say Soothing Roll just makes you completely ignore anything that the monster does, and it only puts you into the roll. Because your Adept roll actually does get affected by the black hole. It's a very interesting quirk that this specific support move has, but it is still very nice. Again, it is nice to just have a get out of jail free card for anything just for the cost of 1 bar. Used to it didn't heal. It just healed your statuses, and I believe it did make you invincible, but it didn't heal, which, you know, then you'll have to carry emergency retreat, and at that point you just only carry emergency retreat because it does the same thing except it heals, and it only puts you underground. I like Soothing Roll because it gets you back into the battle faster, and since you're already rolling around with adept dodges, you should be pretty used to how the rolling feels. So it's really easy to just adept dodge and go into that, and you don't have to worry about getting out of the ground, especially if you get hit by a tremor or a roar. That can be pretty bad because it'll stun you for quite a bit. Here you only have to worry about your roll ending, but you can very easily control that, but just by tapping X. There have been some times where I get hit by it, but not as many times as actually being hit out of the ground from emergency retreat. Wait for the slam. Up to 25 minutes now. Again, just taking a little bit longer because I have to explain the process. Go for the tail. Since it is a weak spot, he's going to turn around towards us, though. I believe you can break the tail, but not cut it off with blunt weapons. Could be wrong on that, though. All right, couple of boomerangs here. Wait, see what he does. Just into the air. Thunder pillars into probably a sword. Nope. It's the black hole. Into the sword. Into the slam. Dodge into that. Again, very, very, very generous iframes. Because that seemed late, honestly. And it was late, but it's very generous still. All right, wait and see what he does. He's just doing some ranged attacks here. He's trying to sting with his tail. We'll dodge to the left. It's safer to dodge to the left there, but if you dodge to the right, just try to get the iframe or the adept dodge off. Not the iframe. I guess technically the iframes, because you don't have iframes otherwise. All right, we'll dodge into the swipe there on the right. See what he does. His wings are charged, so They will take more damage. Comes the black hole once more. All right, into the slam. And we'll counter. And don't worry, after the slam, the black hole should end pretty quickly. So don't worry about being dragged into it unless you're like literally touching it on top of it. But I think you would know at that point to maybe try to prioritize getting away from it. That's a bit greedy. I'm going to get swatted by that. Tried to say slapped and swatted at the same time. Doesn't quite work. All right, throw a couple of boomerangs out. Comes the swipes. Just get away from him. Just doing one, so that's fine. We'll counter him there. Here comes the tackle. Dodge into it. His whole body is a hitbox. You don't have to worry about going specifically into the wing. Comes the roar. Could go for a mega boomerang here. In fact, I probably should have because he is charging. So that's a good place to actually use that. Keep that in your head when you go to fight him. Comes the beam sword. We're perfectly fine to just avoid that. All right, he's doing just tail sweeps now into Thunderbolt. All right, into the stinger. Again, just dodge to the left. You're pretty safe. Couple of boomerangs there. Wait for this. All right, we'll just block that. That's fine with me, I guess. Being very slow reactionary too, but I have just gotten off work, so I'm going to be a little tired. All right, dodge that. Get a little closer. Gotta reapply our boomerang buffs. All right, wait and see what he does next. Thunder beam or beam sword. Bit greedy here. He could combo it, so hopefully he doesn't. He will not. He'll just run towards us, which is great. We'll get a flinch. Knock his tail out of charge, I believe. He's actually back to exhaustion, so just showing how long this is actually taking, because the first hunt did not have him going into exhaustion twice. It was only once, and then he was down. All right, couple of boomerangs here. He's going to turn towards us to do a physical attack. Fine to just stay out of the way of it. In fact, that's a very generous hitbox, because normally you would expect the legs to actually damage you, but nope. And there we go. Boltreaver Astalos G5 is down. Again, not a terrible hunt. If I were just purely focusing on it, it'd be much easier. But, you know, I'm not going to complain about a 25-minute hunt compared to the 35 and 45-minute hunts we've been having with the Deviants. Definitely not the hardest. Maybe by itself so far. I don't know. Crystal Beard was a bit rough. We handled him pretty fine, but that was just because it was an open plane. If it was a bit closer together, especially in that little crystal type area in the volcanic hollow, Crystal Beard is a bit scary. Either way, I covered him up, and I will meet you back at base. All right, back to the hub. We'll go ahead and look at the equipment. The first thing is the Zolbolt Spear. Has purple sharpness, 170 raw on both sides, 38 thunder element on the melee side, and 28 thunder element on the boomerang side. This is okay. It's not great. Honestly, it might be better than our Hyper Legiacris anchor. I didn't think about that when actually counting that in, but your Legiacris anchor is not going to be your best. Obviously, it's going to be the Fatalis Rod. Fatalis Rod is going to be the best. It has the 199 raw of this weapon and only 32 thunder element, but it has purple sharpness, so that not only boosts more of your raw, but it also boosts more of your element as well, which is pretty nice. Again, I would have to do the actual damage calculations compared to the Zolbolt Spear to see if it is better than the Hyper Legiacris weapon. But honestly, since having to fight White Fatalis does not require a thunder weapon, it's not really the end of the world. You would just use your Shigaru weapon, which works pretty fine against it. The Zephyr Spirit is a little bit stronger raw-wise, being 185, but the element is a little bit lower, and you also only get white sharpness. It's an interesting contrast, especially because the later tier weapon actually has slightly lower raw than the first tier, but the purple sharpness does just kind of make up for that, especially on the element side. As for the armor, the Boltreaver Mask Double Cross only has 162 defense and only actually 6 thunder resistance, which I was surprised. I thought it would have 8, but no, it does not. And I believe I said before, but I may have corrected that as well. The other Fated 4 Deviants do not get 166 like Hellblade does. It's only Hellblade that gets the special one. Of course, Grimclaw and other monsters like that also get some pretty good defense as well. It's the same 166. But I'm actually surprised that these Deviants don't get the 166 as well. They're not terribly difficult. I would say Hellblade has actually given me a harder time than Boltreaver or Soulseer being the easiest of them, but they're not terribly easy either if you are not used to them. Body armor is only 290, and of course still that 6 thunder resistance. Again, it's okay. It's definitely good defense wise, and if you haven't hunted Thunderlord yet, it's okay for thunder resistance, but Thunderlord has the same defense and has 8 thunder resistance on each side. So if you are just making elemental defense sets, this one will be better, though I believe Old Fatalis will have the best thunder equipment. I don't remember though. We'll see that whenever we get to it. Either way, with that out of the way, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider leaving a comment below and maybe even consider subscribing. Until next time, bye.